Dear participants, let's come back and start our second half of the conference. Please mention in the chat if you are with us. I can see that you are coming back. We have a very interesting part ahead of us. It's the presentation of our experience of our foreign international colleagues. It will be very diverse experience because everybody works in a different field and can share their experiences, how we can coordinate. Thank you for your activity. Now we are back to our conference, and now I have an honor to give the floor to Anastasia Yun, PhD, Massachusetts University in Boston, specialist in applied behavior analysis, supervisor who is currently in the United States and will present her interesting experience along with her colleague, Olena Chayevska, candidate of philological sciences in Germany. So we will combine our time and space here to share our experiences. So please, could you share your screen? I will check that you are in the English channel, so we will hear the translation of everything what you're saying. Okay, I can see the presentation, so I give the floor to you and waiting for.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me very well. Thank you for the invitation to this wonderful place. My name is Anastasia Yun, and I'm very happy to be here. So I guess my colleague was already introduced. Okay, so we are going to talk about our experience in providing support to families and professionals in the world of applied behavior analysis. So we will be talking a lot about children with special needs. All right. So this is our agenda. We will talk a little bit about the statistics and what's happening in the world of applied behavior analysis in our region. And then we will talk about the goals and research in applied behavior analysis. And then we will talk about what we did to solve some problems. And more specifically, we will talk about the course sequence that we developed with Elena. Okay. So we wanted to start here. So there used to be one big major organization that oversaw a lot of countries. I mean, all of the countries. It was called Behavior Analyst Certification Board. That's where people in applied behavior analysis and professionals receive their certifications. It used to be an international organization that is no longer international. International Behavior Analysis Organization took over, and now this is the one that's trying to become international. So the statistics is like this. As you can see, in the United States, there are almost 200,000 professionals registered in applied behavior analysis. Meanwhile, there are only 4 people who are board certified behavior analysts in Ukraine. At the same time, and this is the main organization. The new organization that took over is International Behavior Analysis Organization, has 1,500 people registered, and these are the certified behavior analysts who are eligible to work with families and children with special needs who are eligible to provide high quality services. And only 3 people from Ukraine are registered there. This is, I just want you to pay attention on the numbers. Like here in the US, there are almost 200,000 and only 4 people in Ukraine. So there are not enough professionals who are certified and who are eligible and who can legitimately provide services. If you look at United Kingdom, Great Britain, there are overall 800 specialists who are certified. And if you look at these numbers mean that, for example, in the United Kingdom, there are 580 board-certified behavior analysts. These are independent people who can provide services almost without supervision. They do seek peer-to-peer supervision, but they can function independently. 152 people cannot function independently. They always work under the supervision of board-certified behavior analysts. Another thing to know is that not every single board-certified behavior analyst can provide supervision. You have to seek additional training and become a supervisor to supervise other people and supervise your peers. So, as you can see, overall, there are not enough people in the world, and especially there's a scarce and lack of people in Ukraine. This is the statistics. These two organizations, this slide is about how many organizations are eligible to provide registered education to professionals who want to become applied behavior analysts. So this organization, Association for Behavior Analysis organization, it works with this main organization, Behavior Analyst Certification Board, and at least in the United States, there are 666 registered organizations. No organization is registered in Ukraine, so there is no. So the thing is that there is a lack of both parties. There are not enough people, professionals who are eligible to provide services, and there are no organizations who can provide education. But at the same time, this organization is no longer of high interest for us because it works mostly with these countries now: United States, Canada, Australia, and United Kingdom. The organization that provides accreditation to people who want to provide education abroad now is the International Behavior Analysis Organization. And so far, there are only 12 education content providers registered, and one of them is us. We were the very first one who developed a course in Ukrainian, and then there was the second one appeared just recently. So there are only 2 registered content providers right now who can provide education in Ukrainian language. So what we did is we also looked at the agenda that was provided by Association for Behavior Analysis International, and right now the current goals for the future in the field of applied behavior analysis is to become extremely trauma-informed. ABA should be very trauma-informed, and ABA should be very current and modern. And the most recent version of applied behavior analysis is the acceptance and commitment therapy. Not all educational programs in psychology and applied behavior analysis actually teach this content, so it's kind of new. Our personal contribution to this field. So we understand that different people provide different supports and help right now. So we decided to go with the research. So what is lacking in research right now in our region is the information on social emotional learning. So we did is that we wrote a monograph about it, and there we wrote how we can combine social emotional competencies with education. And also we're currently working on a different research where we look at families with special needs. This is a really under-researched population, especially in Ukraine. We couldn't find any articles that talk about what happens with families with children with special needs, what kind of traumatic experiences they're going through, what's happening to the children. Most of the research that's available is focusing on able-bodied, so-called quote-unquote healthy individuals. So right now we want to share with our preliminary results to show what's happening and what we found. So we collected data from families with children with special needs, and we wanted to look at several things. First, we wanted to see how they are coping, so where their resilience level is right now. 21% of the respondents have the same scores that people diagnosed with PTSD show. Other 29% of respondents show the same scores that people with generalized anxiety disorder have. Other 29% show the same results, the same resilience results that people, psychiatric outpatients have. Other 11% of respondents have the results that correspond to people who are in primary care, and 7% of people, of the respondents, have the average, quote unquote, again, normal resilience scores, and only 1% of the respondents is coping very well. Then we also looked at their traumatic experiences in the childhood. This is the graph. So the current term for traumatic childhood experience is adverse childhood experience, and it can be quantified. And by adverse childhood experience, we mean perpetuating experience of trauma in childhood that can affect future of the people. The way to read this graph is this. 21% of people said they had no childhood experience, meaning that they're not in the risk category. People who scored from 1 to 3 are in intermediate risk, but also some people from who scored 3 points and beyond, they're the ones who are in the risk of experiencing toxic trauma, meaning that they might have health-related issues in their adulthood. We also looked at what's happening with their children on the social emotional level. So what we found is that these are the average scores of the results. So this score is the score for overall stress. From 0 to 10 is the average score. That's where people are okay to. So this is the okay score for stress. But the thing is that these children are going through a lot of stress. So their stress level is almost doubled, and some children even had score of 34, meaning that they're like in extreme stress. The average score for emotional distress should have been 3, but our results show that on average, children are emotionally distressed more than on average. But of course, like the data range, the individual data range is different. Some children are under more emotional distress. They show also increased behavioral difficulties. Some show less, some show more, but on average, they have an increased score for behavioral difficulties. Their symptoms of hyperactivity and poor concentrations are also very high. They have problems with getting along with other children. So the average score, which is considered to fall within normalcy, is from 0 to 2, but our population shows that at least 6 on average. And the score for prosocial behavior should have been here. And this score means that they have a lot of problem behavior, not very prosocial. So what this data tells us is that when we prepare professionals in applied behavior analysis, we need to take this data into account. These professionals should understand who they are working with, what they need to do, and provide high quality care. And maybe now Elena can continue.
Okay, I will follow in English. Why this research is so important? What's the practical value of this? There is lack of knowledge about what is happening with families, with children, with special needs from Ukraine. We just do not know what is going on with them. And these data are important in treatment development, in treatment realization, and preparation of ABA professionals, because it helps to provide trauma-informed, humanistic, and individualized interventions. And you can see in this chart to see which competencies we are looking for. Is emotional competencies, social competencies, cognitive competencies, also behavior, all together. How we form it, we use different ways, like you can see modeling here, and commenting and shaping social stories. So we have a lot of tools And we want to base our intervention on current research. And we also use this information to develop and pilot proper training, which I will talk more about later. So you see this holistic framing, see competencies, and next, please. We'll go to understanding that this complex approach we use in both modalities, in individualized support and group support. So in both modalities, we value human-to-human interactions. Next. People come to us with requests to fix undesirable behavior. The goal of specialists to teach a client or a parent to achieve the same goal, but with more socially appropriate or desirable behavior. So we pretty much change an undesirable behavior to desirable behavior. But it's not enough. We also look into what behind the observable behavior, what is emotion or thought behind the behavior. We take this information into account when we are working with our clients because it is one of the aspects of the trauma-informed therapy. And when we get all these questions answered, we develop an individualized treatment plan for people, for children, their families. Go on the next, please. On the right, you see evidence-based treatment model, where rapport is the basis of the treatment. You see in orange color. Pay attention to the fact that intervention is not the first step in treatment development. We need to first build and always continue building rapport, connection. Identify problem, then analyze, then propose treatment, then implement intervention, and then analyze what we've done. This is model being used in psychotherapy, in education, in consultation, and also in proper applied behavior analysis practice. And also the figure on the left is a simplified picture of what going on with rapport building and with intervention, which we did. In our practice, we take into account the interaction between children, family members, educational setting, and also professional background of treatment providers. It is important to point out that the professional groups, for example, ABA providers belongs to professional group. Yes, it's always like this. And this group has tremendous impact on what kind of beliefs and values this professional practice. Therefore, these beliefs and values must differ from one professional group to another. Next, please. So we see trauma-informed ABA therapy education looks like paying attention to playing, relational frame theory, social emotional learning, also families together with professionals, with ethics and peer-to-peer parent specialist communication. So basically what we did, we took our current research data, we looked at existing scientific literature on trauma-informed therapy for people with and without special needs, and we took feedback from families of children with special needs. And then you will see what is going on. So existing scientific literature, we have looked through. We volunteered to work with people with special needs and the families with special needs. Then we developed complex trauma-informed ABA course based on current education strategies. And we started pilot ABA course sequence. And in this course, what we do now, we facilitate communication between parents and professionals. And next slide will be a structure of course sequence. So it is just 6 steps. It consists of step 1, which is introduction, just research-based ABA, observations, and all definitions. Step 2 is distinction and data collection, and we do it scientific practitioner model way. Step 3 is functional analysis and developmental psychology. Step 4 is about interventions, but we do focus on language development. And in language development, we focus on deixis. Step 5, also interventions, because it's very important to do and to know how to make interventions. We focus on joint attention, on theory of mind, and on relational frame theory. And last module unit deals with ethics, as is usually like this in courses. But the goal is to develop integrative, system-based approach with students. And we put, as I have already mentioned, we put play into the basis of this course sequence. And the goal is to show professionals and families how to use this deixis concept in therapy. And deixis concept refers to specific time, place, person in context, and it can be done in play while you are playing with children. And the next one, please. Trauma-informed treatment emphasizes importance of people experience, and it helps to create safe and optimal environmental conditions for language development and facilitate adjustment to new conditions to make child be in society. And to sum it up, just you see we did a research contribution on a scientific practitioner model way. Data and statistics has been done based off ACEs, resilience, and social and emotional learning. Our solution is to do intervention. We do it voluntary, do education, courses for families and for professionals. And what is important is pedagogic attention to the role of emotions in intercultural education and analysis of the role of social emotional learning. Also can be formal and informal education setting. Both is okay, but important to be trauma-informed always. And for future plans, just we plan another course for parents. Thank you for your attention.